So you're thinking about making a move to the Denver, Colorado area, and you don't want to stick out like a sore thumb. So let's go over some of the ways that you can speak like a local so that you don't appear to be a transplant. Yep, that's what people call non-natives in the Denver metro area are transplants. And let's help you not sound like one. So let's just start with some of the major roadways. So some of the roads are 104th and 120th. I know instantly that somebody is not from here when they call it 104 or 120. It's 104th and it's 120th. I know it sounds silly, but you will stick out if you don't speak the right way. I'm sure that's the same as in any town. So some of the other common streets are Zuni. I know it sounds like you should say Zuni, but it's actually Zuni. Galapago is Galapago. It's not Galapagos. Like the Galapagos Islands, it's Galapago. I-25 and I-70 are highways. They're not freeways, they're not beltways, passways, they're highways. We just say the highway. We're gonna go hop on the highway. So it's I-25, I-70. Those are the major thoroughfares that kind of intersect the state. We do have Highway 36 that some people still call Boulder Turnpike. So if you hear somebody say Boulder Turnpike, that is Highway 36 because it is the way to head into Boulder. If you hear somebody talk about the mousetrap, that is where I-70 and I-25 merge, and it is just a mess of concrete jungle nightmare. As a kid, every time we drove through there, I was trying to understand why it was called a mousetrap. But if you look, it just has the clover leaves everywhere, and it just is a big conglomerate of mess. It works, but it's still called the mousetrap. So some of the common cities, Louisville. It's not Louisville, it's Louisville, just the way it's spelled. Westminster is Westminster, not Westminster. It is not spelled Westminster, but you still hear locals call it Westminster as well, but it's Westminster. A couple of the ones that are Spanish related, but people still say it a different way, is Salida and Buena Vista. It's not Buena, I don't even know how else you would say it, but if you're Hispanic, you definitely get a little bit irritated by the way people say it in Colorado. Now those aren't anywhere near the Metro Denver area, but people do talk about Salida and Buena Vista quite a bit. So we say Arvada, it's not Arvada, it's Arvada. And interestingly enough, a lot of people that aren't from here say Colorado the wrong way. It is Colorado, like we're rad. Some people will say Colorado. I'm trying to remember what some of the other pronunciations are, but just remember it's Colorado, Arvada. Colorado Springs, we just refer to as the Springs. Going down to the Springs, you don't necessarily need to say Colorado Springs, you're already in Colorado, so just say the Springs. Now let's talk about some of our sporting fields. I had to look one of these up because ever since the name change, I wasn't quite sure what it was because we only call them what they've always been called. Now I will say we have Dick's and we have Ball. Yeah, very clever Colorado. But Dick's Sporting Goods Park is and always has been Dick's Sporting Goods Park. That's where the Colorado Rapids play. And sometimes there's concerts there. So if you're going to Dick's, you're going to see soccer. Ball Arena, we never say Ball Arena. It's the Pepsi Center. It's always been the Pepsi Center. Ball probably hates that we still call it the Pepsi Center because Pepsi doesn't own the rights to the naming anymore. But if you hear somebody say the Pepsi Center, that's Ball Arena, and that's where the Avalanche play, or a lot of concerts, or the Nuggets. In Power Field, that's the one I had to look up. I didn't remember what it was called anymore. It's been Invesco Field and Power Field. But if you want to look like a local, just call it Mile High Stadium. That's all we say. It's the Mile High Stadium. It always has been, it always will be. Now let me tell you, I didn't look this up and I don't know what it is, and frankly, I don't care. But Fiddler's Green is the amphitheater in Inglewood where we go see a lot of concerts. It's just called Fiddler's Green. If you're going to the Rockies game and somebody tells you that they're gonna sit in the rock pile, that means they're the cheap seats, but they're the fun seats. It's where the party happens. That used to be the South Stands at the Denver Broncos. I don't really hear people say we're sitting in the South Stands anymore, especially since the newly designed Mile High Stadium. But if you're in the rock pile, you're kind of like way up, but it's kind of where the party happens. Then if you hear people talk about living along the Front Range, this entire area is just considered the Front Range. If you're going over to Grand Junction or Fruita, Palisade, you're on the western slope. So if somebody's saying we're gonna go head over to the western slope, that's where they're heading. But if you're here, you're in the Front Range. Colorado, people tend to drop their T's. So if somebody says we're going to the mountains, we're going to the mountains. It's not the mountains. I do have some friends that have moved here from different countries or different states. And when they say mountain, I know they're not from here. If you're gonna go look at a big water feature, it's a fountain. It's not a fountain. In fact, we have a city here in Colorado called Fountain. And if you say fountain, we're gonna know you're not from here. And I know, I said it before, but Colorado people call non-natives transplants. And you might be wondering, am I a native? Well, I consider myself one. I always joke that I was made in Colorado, but born in California and back at 8 weeks. But if you ask a true native, I don't get to claim that. Even though I was made here, I think I should be able to be a native. I've only known and lived in Colorado. And by the way, I am a licensed real estate broker here in the state of Colorado. I do create these videos to help you with your transition and your move here to Colorado. But I love more when I hear from my people that are watching my video and watching my channel that want my assistance to help them move here to Colorado. So with that said, let's continue on. Especially you people from Texas, if we say barbecue, it just means we're gonna fire up the grill out back and throw something on it. I was talking to a client of mine who is from Texas and we said, hey, let's have a barbecue. I almost got in trouble because true barbecue to true Texans means barbecue. It's different here. We're just gonna go out and barbecue, means we're just gonna throw things on the grill. Okay, some other common things that you might hear. So what is a 14er? That just means you're gonna go climb a 1,400,000, or more feet mountain. I just wanted to see if you caught that. That means you're gonna go climb a 1,400,000 foot mountain. I read an article last week that said some of our mountains are actually shrinking and they're gonna have to declassify some of the 14ers because they no longer classify. And another interesting thing, you'll hear Colorado be called 5280 because a mile is 5,280 feet. And so we're the mile high city because at our highest, we're 5,280 feet. But there's a step on the Capitol that is exactly 5280. And apparently our city is shrinking and they're gonna have to reclassify that too. It's quite interesting, this article I read. I guess, are we gonna go away with being the 5280, the mile high city? You'll hear reference a lot to 303. We have magazines called the 303. It's just our original area code. You know, back in the day, you only had to dial 303 if you're calling us from out of state. But then obviously with the congestion, we have 303, 970, 719. Here we're getting another area code. I'm not quite sure what it is yet. I probably should figure that out pretty soon, but I guess we're getting a 4th area code. So if it's 970, it's up north, like way up north, or the Western Slope, which is Grand Junctions, the mountains, and some of the mid-range, so like Breckenridge, Granby, all of those areas, those are also 970. 719 is reserved for Colorado Springs or the Springs, and anything south, so like Pueblo, Walsenburg, anything down there is going to be 719. So 303 and 720 are still more the metro area. 720 was the second area code to be introduced to our metro area. And then, like I said, we're getting a 3rd. Granola. If you hear somebody refer to somebody as a granola, they are probably from Boulder and are probably somebody else refers to as a tree hugger. So if you're very natural, tree hugger really isn't the most commonly used anymore, but it is granola. Oh my gosh, they're so granola. I know it's silly, but that's kind of what you hear people refer to people from Boulder. Okay, how to dress. This is very important, people. I tend to wear coats a lot because I just lost a pretty large and substantial amount of weight and I am cold all the time. But people that are from Colorado or have lived here most of their lives wear shorts and t-shirts almost year round. I have a girlfriend in California and she wears this big fluffy turtleneck and I joke with her, I'm like, oh, is it 70 degrees today? I think it's in the 50s and I'm in a short sleeve shirt today. You'll hear people say, oh, it's beautiful out, it's 45 degrees, but the sun's shining. So you don't necessarily want to move here from Florida, Arizona, Texas and start wearing shorts to try to fit in, but you will notice that quite often people are always in shorts and flip-flops. Flip-flops is a standard. Any type of sandals. you will see most people wear flip-flops or sandals majority of the time. If you are gonna wear a coat, people typically wear North Face or Cool. My coat is a Cool coat. I think I'm kind of cool. But you'll see North Face a lot. Speaking of typical, Subarus are very typical as far as a car goes here in Colorado. I don't own a Subaru, we used to, but you will see a lot of Subarus. And in the winter, I didn't even pay attention to this, but my girlfriend, also from California, pointed out that most people, or a lot of people, wear flannel. The typical uniform in the winter is flannel and jeans. So if you want to fit in, wear your flannel, your jeans, maybe your flip-flops, and your North Face jacket. Say Colorado and go climb a 14er. I don't know, I'm just being silly, but I'm trying to like tie these up for you. Okay, lastly, let's talk about some of the common areas that people will refer to. Downtown Denver's downtown Denver, but there are many sub areas that people will refer to. So Low-Hi. Low-Hi is Lower Highlands. Highlands is a subdivision or subsection of Denver. If you're gonna go to Low-Hi, you're probably gonna go to somewhere like Avanti, which is one of our food courts, or urban dining halls, as they're calling them. Little Man Ice Cream, the original, which is the super cutest place. In fact, if you're one of our clients, you'll get invited to our yearly ice cream social at Little Man Ice Cream. Linger, which used to be Olinger, is now a restaurant, but it's Linger. Olinger is a big funeral home chain. So when this restaurant bought it out, they just dropped the O, and now it's called Linger. It's quite the experience to go to Linger for cocktails or dinner. And then you'll experience Williams and Graham, which is one of our many speakeasies. Probably one of the most fun. That is, you're going into a bookstore, open the bookshelf, and then you get entered into the bar. The next major area that you'll hear most often is Rhino. Rhino is near where we used to call Five Points, and 5 Points is 5 Points because there's a city where 5 streets intersect, and it all kind of comes into a middle. And so 5 Points back when I was growing up was actually quite terrifying. I wasn't allowed to go down there, and if you ever found yourself down there, you wanted to get out as quickly as possible, which is really interesting with all of this urban regeneration, because Rhino, frankly, is one of my very favorite places to go to right now. Some of my favorite places are Barcelona Wine Bar, little tapas and really great wine. First Draft is pretty fun. It's one of those where you get like a little plastic credit card and you take your beer stein or whatever, and you can try different beers, and it measures how many ounces you're putting in the beer. Death & Co. is one of my favorite whiskey bars. It's the bottom of a hotel, and it's very swanky, very fun, interesting name, Death & Co., but they have pre-prohibition whiskey drinks. You're gonna find just about anything you want, and as far as restaurants go, in Rhino. Last one I'm gonna go over today, there's more. You know, there's Uptown, there's the ballpark area, but these are the 3 main ones. So we have Low-Hi, Rhino, and then Lodo. Lodo is lower downtown, where the Rockies is. And so if you're gonna go to the Rockies, you're gonna go to Lodo. So some fun things in Lodo is the Dairy Block and the Milk Market. Those are really fun, different areas. Again, the Milk Market is another one of those urban, redesigned, like you think mall, right, or food court, but they have little boutique shops, little deli. You can find a little wine store, super fun. But if you go out the back alley, you're gonna go to the Dairy Block, which again is just super fun. I will be doing a video here in the next couple of weeks about all the fun places to go in Denver, and so you can explore the Dairy Block when I do that. Giovannina's is a fun Italian restaurant, and then the Rio. The Rio is one of our original Mexican bars, restaurants, but they moved, and I'm not sure that I'm so set on the new location yet. And then lastly, I'm just gonna touch on Union Station. Union Station is one of the funnest, coolest new revitalizations that you'll ever see. The Crawford Hotel is there, and all these restaurants and little bars. You could almost spend a day at Union Station. It is just, I just love it. I love what they've done with it. So there you have it. That's how to speak like a local. And just a reminder, I am a local real estate agent. I've been a realtor for over 20 years. And if you're planning to move here to the Denver, Colorado area, I can help you fit in like a local. reach out, call me today. I can't wait to hear from you. But until then, see you next time.